Wow, this is so weird. Oh, okay. I've posted this video that you are now watching for a reason. A very important reason. Now, I'm sure you're looking at me and you're going, well, yeah, you didn't post this for no reason. Like, obviously it's important. But I'm saying this because I don't think you guys understand the importance. Not yet. Until you bear with me in this process, until you listen to what I have to say, you're not gonna understand. But this video isn't just for a certain crowd. This video is for everybody. For everyone who's questioning, for everyone who's wondering what it's like, for everyone who's wondering why are people the way they are, or anything like that. This video is for everybody to get something out of. I'm not the kind of guy who's gonna sit here and post about just one specific thing. Because you're gonna get a range of everything if I even get known. But quite honestly, it's not about getting known. It's about putting my opinion out there. It's about helping people when they need it. So, in order for you to understand why something like this is important to me, I have to tell you a bit of my story. I have to open up to you guys, and that is not easy for me, so just bear with me. Alright. So about 12 years ago, I was this small, confused, and scared elementary school kid. I was brand new to the school. I had no friends. I had nobody. And I knew I was different, and apparently so did everybody else at my school. I was bullied. I was left alone. People didn't really associate with me because to them I was just different. Ever since I was little, I knew that I was different too. I wasn't gonna deny it. I knew it, it's not something that I could hide from, you know. And it was really obvious. I always had these thoughts in the back of my mind, like, hey, I would date that girl, but I was a girl, so it didn't really make any sense to me, you know, because I grew up in a family where, like, hey, guys date girls, that's the natural thing, and I always felt so bad, you know, because my parents are over here saying guys date girls, girls date guys, and I'm over here a girl, like, hey, I would date that girl. I didn't even look at guys. I always thought of them more like me. And I remember thinking throughout elementary, I never really understood why I wasn't like the rest of the guys. Why I didn't have the same body as them. And it frustrated me. Genuinely, I always got really frustrated about it. And it didn't make any sense to me. Fast forward a couple of years, and I knew how I felt, but I decided to ignore it. And I put myself in this position where I was going to be the way everyone else wanted me to be, no matter how I felt. And that got really old really fast. But I did it because I didn't want my parents to think less of me. I didn't want my family or my friends to think less of me. So I hid behind this mask, behind this wall that I built so I could please everybody else. And all the while I was doing that, I was still trying to figure out the name to put to what I was. How I felt. And finally, after more and more research, I finally came to the conclusion, like, hey, I'm gay. But that wasn't my last stop. I remember coming out to everybody like, hey, I'm into girls. And it was only my friends. I couldn't do that with my family. But I told them I got a lot of different reactions. I got some that were like, hey, I love you no matter what, I'm gonna support you no matter what, and then I got some were like, oh wow, you're a freak. And they were telling me exactly what I was afraid of hearing. Exactly what I was afraid of happening whenever I did come out. They were telling me that I was weird and that I was abnormal and that I didn't belong, and it was hard. Fast forward another couple months, I'm going through my journey figuring out like, hey, I'm actually really into girls, but that's not the last stop for me. At first I figured I was just like this huge tomboy. Just like, that's it. Like, I was into girls, I was still a girl, but I was just a huge tomboy at first. And then later on, around the end of 7th grade year, the beginning of my 8th grade year, I came to the conclusion that no, that's not all I am. And I truly, genuinely, like, inside felt like a boy. That was one of the hardest things, despite what a lot of people in my life may think. It was one of the hardest things that I had to come out and say. It took me months to finally build the courage to say it, but when I did say it, whenever I did tell everybody, I just came out. Like, I was so overwhelmed that it came out. I said, hey, I'm trans. And I stopped and I froze. I was like, oh crap, what the heck did I just do? But at the same time, it felt so good to finally say that, to finally come out and be like, this is me. And then of course, we had the same two reactions. Good reaction, bad reaction. And that one was taken a lot harder. Because it's one thing to say, hey, I'm into girls. It's another to say, hey, I'm a dude. What you've known me as is a lie. That's a lot. It'll shake up a world. It'll turn everything upside down. And at first I don't think I understood that. Because it got frustrating that people weren't accepting me instantly. I wanted the instant acceptance. And in all reality, that's not how it was going to work. And it took me a while to get used to that. And it took everyone else a while to get used to that. It's still taking my family some time. It's still taking a couple of my friends some time. But for the most part, I've had amazing friends. And I've had amazing support. But it still wasn't easy. Whenever I came out as trans, I only came out to my friends. I didn't come out to my family, not yet. So, I'm getting to know that, and I'm starting to figure out names, and I'm going through names, and fast forward about a year later, and I finally decide to come out to my parents. When I came out to my parents, it was actually just me and my mom. And, we were in this office, and we were talking about why I was so different, because she was just frustrated, I guess. I don't know. I really don't remember the whole content of the situation, of our conversations or anything like that, but I do remember getting so frustrated I was crying because I didn't want to tell her, but I knew I had to, and I said, Mom, I'm trans. I'm a guy. And she just froze. And to this day, she still can't look me in the eye on the subject. But when I came out, I didn't realize it then, but it tore them apart. And whenever I told my dad, when I told him in person, he was not happy about it. I'll just tell you that much. And it was hard because the two people that I wanted the approval from, the approval that mattered most to me, was denied to me. And that I think was the hardest thing about it. And to this day, it's still really difficult. My parents they're getting better, but there's still a few more steps in the process. And I'm sure after hearing all of that, like, you're probably wondering, okay, well, what was the point of that? Well, in all sincerity, I'm making this video because of something that has recently happened. I came out 3 years ago. That's been a while. I knew who I was a lot longer before that, but I didn't have the courage to come out until 3 years ago. And whenever I did come out to the rest of my family, that was pretty hard for them. I had a lot of different reactions, once again, which I was expecting. I wasn't gonna take that from them at all. At that point, by the time I came out to the rest of my family, I already knew what to expect. And I had a couple of family members who, like, they just didn't talk to me for a while. And recently, the reason why I decided I wanted to make this video was I had a family member who came up to me and asked me, "Are you really gay?" And I replied and I said, "I'm trans, yes." And they asked me why. Like, they asked me what that was and why I was the way I was. And genuinely, I'd never been asked that before. And the best thing that I could tell them was, I am the way I am because I'm naturally just this way. It's not a choice. It's not something that I'm gonna wake up in the morning and say, "Oh, I choose to be a boy." No, if I could have avoided all of the ridicule and all of the hatred from me coming out as trans, I would have. Because it's hard. It's so hard to deal with all of that. It's so hard to look at the people who you used to think of as friends and know that in their minds you're a freak. It's hard. And I told her that me being the way I am wasn't a choice. It was just who I was. I didn't ask to be this way. I didn't choose to be this way. I am who I am because that's just part of me. And she asked me what trans was, and I told her it was the feeling and the understanding that you as a person, you as a soul, as a mind, know for sure that you are the opposite gender from what is inside your body. Like, you know for a fact that you are one thing, but your body tells everybody else that you're the opposite. And she asked me how that could be, and I said, I don't have the answer to that. But I do know that's who I am. And she hit me with the, well, that's unholy, and that's something that I've heard a lot. But here's the thing. For anyone who's wanting to understand why someone is trans, or for anyone who's even thinking like, maybe I am trans, male to female, female to male, anything like that. Being the way you are, being who you are, isn't by choice. It's not unholy. It's not freakish. It's not anything like that. It's your state of being. It is your reality. A lot of people would like to think that there's only two realities, black and white. Everything's two-dimensional, but it's not. Nothing is two-dimensional. There's a whole spectrum of different things. There's a whole different ideology for everything. There's a different mindset for everything. Nothing is two-dimensional. If something was two-dimensional, life would be really easy, and life isn't easy at all. If everything could only be seen through one glass, then we wouldn't have any problems in the world because we would all be on the same page. We would all understand each other. But that's not the reality of life. The reality of life is that everything is different. No one is the same. No one. Absolutely no one. Not even identical twins are the same. They're different in their own way. So, for everyone who is on the verge of coming out or thinking about coming out or trying to figure out who you are, explore. Explore. You're not going to learn anything about yourself if you keep yourself isolated in this small box like I did. It's never going to get easier the more you hide. And it's hard, trust me. I've gone through enough to know that it is hard. I'm nowhere near the verge of transitioning. I haven't even touched hormonal therapy. I don't have near enough money for any sort of surgeries. I'm at the beginning of the stage. I am in my very first few steps. And it's hard to accept, but it's just the truth. But my transition, I want people to use to help them. I want people to use what I'm going through, my experiences, to help them understand, or to help them come to terms, or to even just open up their minds a little bit. I want to open up people's minds because, like I said, nothing is two-dimensional. We are in a wide spectrum. We are in a universe that is so diverse and so infinite that there's no way that anything can just be two-dimensional. For anyone who's watching, who has a family member who's trans, gay, lesbian, pansexual, asexual, demisexual, demi-boy, demi-girl, anything like that, omnisexual, anything like that, look at it from their point of view. Try to understand. And if you're straight and you're supportive of the community, thank you. Thank you. And if you're straight and you're just watching this to see, like, hey, I don't understand how this could be a thing, everything is possible. Anything is possible. As long as you open up your mind to it. No one in this world is going to be able to tell anything about you to you unless you make it a reality. Now, that probably doesn't make any sense, but let me explain. When I came out, I had family members and I had friends who were like, there's no way that's who you are, I know you. And in all reality, I only let them know what I wanted them to know about me. They only knew the parts of me that I wanted them to see. The reality of it is that I was so diverse and so complex and I was going through so much that I kept it from them and they would never understand that because I never showed them. They can't understand something they've never seen. And that's completely okay. No one can understand something completely that they've never seen or experienced. That's just the reality of it. It's impossible to completely understand something that you've never gone through or seen or anything. I want to make people understand or open up people's minds about what the LGBT community goes through, what trans people go through, even what cis people go through, cisgender people, straight people, everyone goes through something. Everyone. And I'm not going to take that away from anybody. My life is not necessarily any harder than anybody else's. I have different battles from everybody else. I have different ways of coping with dysphoria or hate than a lot of other people do. But my problems are no bigger and no less than anybody else's, realistically. And this video is probably everywhere, and I am so sorry, but this is also very new to me. I'm not used to talking like this. But I do want people to hear different perspectives. And I'm hoping that somewhere along the way you got something out of it. But I might, well, no, I will make more videos talking about what it's like to be trans, or talking about the ridicule that the LGBT community gets, talking about the hatred that's going on all over the world, everywhere, towards everybody. And I hope that whoever listens can get something out of what I have to say. You don't have to agree with me. Your opinion is your opinion, and I give you that. I'm not going to take that away from you. I'm not going to say, well, your opinion's wrong. No. Your opinion is your reality. Just like mine is mine. But I do hope that somewhere along the line, something that I've said might have made you think a little bit. But, yeah. So, thank you for watching, if you did watch all the way through this crazy, very random, everywhere video. And I hope you have a good rest of Pride. Bye, you guys.